Hello guys, welcome back to yet another episode of Content Monsters, and in today's episode we are going to review Blonde, which has recently been released on Netflix.
Marilyn Monroe only exists on the screen.
Now, Blonde is a fictional biography of Marilyn Monroe. Yes, the pop culture icon of America since the 1950s. People continue to have a lot of interest in what her life may have been. This film stars Ana de Armas in the title role. She plays Marilyn Monroe in this film. The other star cast comprises of Adrian Brody, Bobby Cannavale, Xavier Samuel, Casper Philipson, Rebecca Wysocki, Garrett Dillahunt, Evan Williams, Catherine Dent and Toby Huss. Now, Marilyn Monroe was clearly a lady of uncommon talent, but instead of getting inside her mind, the director clearly takes a very voyeuristic approach towards her and ends up caricaturizing her exactly the way the world has believed her to be. It's quite sad and unfortunate, clearly, because Andrew Dominic, the director, clearly had a chance to look at Marilyn Monroe a bit differently from what the world has known her to be, from clearly understanding the depth of her personality, of possibly portraying her as someone who was fairly intellectual, not as dumb as Hollywood projected her to be, or most people possibly thought of her to be. Look at the sensitive side behind the sexy image that Hollywood had created of hers, but unfortunately, like I said, he's clearly let go of all of these options and portrayed her. Possibly the worst vision of Marilyn Monroe that may have existed has only been re-emphasized, re-bolstered by this portrayal of hers in this film. I mean, there is no problem in Ana de Armas' performance. In fact, she's quite brilliant. She looks the part. She's done the job very well. She looks vulnerable. She clearly looks like the Norma Jean who wants to avoid the limelight that was thrust on Marilyn Monroe, the actress. But clearly, as far as the film goes, it clearly lets down both Ana de Armas as well as Marilyn Monroe. Now, given all the indignities and the horrors that Marilyn Monroe went through in her 36 years of life, whether it was a family tragedy, a paternal absence, maternal abuse, time in an orphanage, time in foster homes, huge spells of poverty, unworthy film roles, insults about her lack of intelligence, struggles with mental illness, problems with substance abuse, sexual assault at the hands of casting directors, and all other men that came into her life, the slavering attention of insatiable fans. All of this together is nothing compared to this absolute hogwash of a film that Blonde is. I'm sure Marilyn Monroe went through all of these tragedies with far greater ease and composure than what she may have had if she had gone through this film. This film is distinctly uncomfortable most of the times. It's clearly going to evoke some very, very extreme reactions. But for me personally, when I saw the trailer, I felt that this would bring alive a different side of Marilyn Monroe, a side that the world doesn't know. But what it has ended up doing, like I said earlier, is caricaturizing her, building or rebuilding the same image of hers that existed in the minds of the audiences worldwide.
I can't face doing another scene with Marilyn Monroe.
Clearly, there is more to Marilyn Monroe's life than just the predatory behavior of men towards her, specifically the men she was involved with during the course of her life. But all this film is focused on doing is to caricaturize her and caricaturizing every man who came into her life as an antagonist, who only used and abused her throughout her life and did not look at Marilyn Monroe beyond her beauty. I'm sure Marilyn Monroe was fairly tenacious as a person. To survive in the cutthroat world of glamour, you have to be tenacious. From where she started to where she reached, I'm sure that there was a lot more tenacity that she had than what's being shown in the film. What you see in the film is her just wanting to be Norma Jean, and the fact that the Marilyn Monroe had been thrust upon her, which I'm sure is not the case. I'm sure in her journey in the show business, there were moments that she also enjoyed. But this film almost makes it seem as if she never wanted to be a major movie star, which may definitely not be the case. Also, once I went through the film and when I Googled, I did realize that this is based on a book which itself was a fictional biography, and therefore I find it difficult to understand which part of it is actually true and which is untrue. Did her mother actually try to kill Marilyn because she felt that her father left her only after she was born? Did the men in her life actually take so much advantage of her? Was she actually involved in a relationship or a threesome with Charlie Chaplin's son? All of these situations, you wonder whether they were actually true or not. Like I said, The director clearly adopts a very, very voyeuristic approach towards her. He's definitely exploited Marilyn Monroe as the sex symbol of that era instead of focusing on other sides of her life and personality as well. So that to me is a huge, huge letdown. On seeing the promo, I definitely had a lot of expectations from this one, because clearly the team has put in a lot of effort, but this film clearly doesn't do justice to Marilyn Monroe's life, which could really have been a very interesting subject matter for a major feature film like this. There are some positives for sure, like for instance, Ana de Armas' performance is brilliant. Many had doubts when this Cuban actress was cast as Marilyn Monroe, but I think she's done a brilliant job. Whether it's a vulnerability, whether it's the confusion, whether it's happiness, all of these emotions have been portrayed so beautifully well by her. I think she clearly has done a brilliant job, maybe her career best performance here. Adrian Brody as a third husband, Arthur Miller, also has done a phenomenal job in the film. So these two clearly strike out as very, very good performances in the film. The second positive I would say is the film has been shot very aesthetically, very good cinematography, very good frames, very clearly the artsy look and feel that has been there in the film is maintained throughout. So kudos to that. But beyond these two positives, I don't see much. For, like I said earlier, for me, clearly the blame lies with the director here for portraying Marilyn Monroe the way he has. Closer home, I would say even a Madhur Bhandarkar has done a far better job, or handled similar subjects or subjects within the similar space far more sensitively, say in a fashion or a heroine, than what Andrew Dominik has in Blonde. That's all I have to say. A huge, huge letdown for me, distinctly uncomfortable, and as you move towards the end, it almost becomes unbearable to watch. You definitely can't watch this more than once. That is, if you can survive watching this once throughout. I'd give this film a rating of 4 on 10, and that is primarily due to Ana de Armas' performance and that beautiful cinematography that this film has. If you've watched the film, do let me know if you agree with our view or disagree. Please share your thoughts in the comment section below. If you like a review, please do subscribe to our channel, and for many, many more such reviews, please do keep coming back. We'll see you soon. Thank you.